أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So this is our third session on lying, Kizb. So we have been studying key concepts in Quran. And the first week we started talking about this verse from Surah Ibrahim. There Satan says, God promised you something, I also promised you, but I wronged you in my promise. So we were sort of depicting Satan as the embodiment of lying, as Quran is presenting it to us. Last week, we were studying this exemplary verse from the beginning of Surah Ar-Rahman, there, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ, which is it of the favors of your Lord that you deny. So lying about this is what we covered. And today, inshallah, we will go with these interesting set of verses. Initially, I was just planning to share the last verse. Then as I kept backtracking, Assalamu alaikum, I couldn't feel like I could cut off any of the verses. So let's start from the beginning. There are very interesting concepts going on with these verses. Probably it will take way more than one session, but inshallah we will try to wrap it up today. ومن أهل الكتاب من إن تأمنه بقنطار يؤديه إليك ومنهم من إن تأمنه بدينار لا يؤديه إليك إلا ما دمت عليه قائمة. Among the people of the book are some who, if entrusted with a hoard of gold, like with a lot of gold, will readily pay it back. And others, among the people of the book, there are others who, if entrusted with a single silver coin, will not repay it unless you constantly stood demanding. ذلك بأنهم قالوا ليس علينا في الأميين سبيل, because they say there is no call on us with these ignorant. ويقولون على الله الكذب وهم يعلمون, but they tell a lie against Allah, although they know it. So the main concept for today's discussion is going to be telling a lie against Allah. And what does this mean? The verse that I picked in here is apparently talking about people of the book. Let's keep reading the verses. بَلَا مَنْ أَوْفَى بِعَهْدِهِ وَاتَّقَى فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Nay, but he who fulfills his pledge and wards of evil, for indeed Allah loves those who ward of evil, like taqwa. Word of evil in here is the word for taqwa. So the things that I would like you to think about while we are reading this is, who is the people of the book and why Quran is mentioning this? What does it mean that there's a group from people of book to whom if you entrust loads of gold, they will pay it back readily. But another type from, again, people of the book, they will take a single coin and they don't give it back. Although you entrusted it to them, they don't give it back unless you stand and ask repetitively. And the reasoning for them is, we don't have anything to do with ignorance. This is the attitude.
In classical translations used for Beni Israel?
Like the context is Beni Israel and Nasara, like from the people of the book. But as we will talk about the other part, bi'ahdihi, so fulfilling his pledge. What does it mean? That because the second verse now is talking about Allah, he who nay, but he who fulfills his pledge and words of evil, Allah loves those. So what does it mean? Which pledge? Which pledge are we talking about? Is it like, I give you this money and you're going to give it back to me? Like I go to William and say that, oh, William, your I don't know, watch is so good. Could you lend it to me for 2 days? And he gives it to me. So I pledge that I'm going to take it back to you in 2 days. And 2 days passes, 3 days passes, a week passes, and still I don't give it back to William. And he says, oh, what type of person is Yusuf? Like he's not respecting his words. He made a pledge and he didn't do that. But how do we do that? See this in general? This is going to be the question. Because eventually, verse is taking it as lying against the Creator. So what sort of a pledge do I have that breaking it is going to be lying against God? Let's keep reading the verses so that you see the bigger picture. إن الذين يشترون بعهد الله وأيمانهم ثمنا قليلا. Indeed, those who purchase or sell or get a small gain, okay, الذين يشترون بعهد الله وأيمانهم ثمنا قليلا. Indeed, those who purchase a small gain at the cost of Allah's covenant and their oaths. Let me rephrase this. They sell their covenant and they sell Allah's covenant and their oaths for a small gain. So, إن الذين يشترون بعهد الله وأيمانهم ثمنا قليلا أولئك لا خلق لهم في الآخرة ولا يكلمهم الله ولا ينظر إليهم يوم القيامة ولا يزكيهم ولهم عذاب أليم. They have no portion in the hereafter. Allah will neither speak to them nor look upon them on the day of resurrection, nor will He make them crow. Theirs will be a painful doom. Now it's talking about selling Allah's covenant and their oaths. What does this mean is going to be, again, a major part of our conversation today. وَإِنَّ مِنْهُمْ لَفَرِيقًا يَلْوُونَ أَلْسِنَتَهُمْ بِالْكِتَابِ لِتَحْسَبُوهُ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَمَا هُوَ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ. And indeed, there is a party of them who distort the scripture, the book, with their tongues, that you may think that what they say is from the book when it is not from the book. وَيَقُولُونَ هُوَ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ وَمَا هُوَ مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ. And they say it is from God when it is not from God. وَيَقُولُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْكَذِبَ وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. And they speak a lie concerning Allah knowingly. So let's first go with the literal understanding. This is speaking about the people of the book. And when we say people of the book, first thing that comes to mind is Jews and then Christians. And Quran criticizes Jewish and Christian attitudes. I would like to underline this, Christian and Jewish attitude in regards to covering up the truth or hiding the truth. Like there is clergy who knows the scripture, and then the common people learn it from those clergy. But if the learned people cover up the truth and distort it when speaking it to public, so these verses are criticizing that group of people. But again, it's not necessarily criticism of group of people, but an attitude. Let's first establish this. When Quran talks about Christians, Jews, Quran is not giving us some strategic information so that we can handle them well when we are getting into some social interaction with them. Meaning, oh, you have a Christian neighbor, a Jewish neighbor. It could be house neighbor or a state neighbor. And then Quran is saying, oh, you know what those guys are about? So you should be careful about this and this and that if you'd like to be successful. It's not that. But rather it is more so that it defines an attitude. The example that we talked about this in the past is, if I say, oh, I had a student, Jonathan, I had a Jonathan. And then Jonathan was so bad of a cheater. Like he was cheating in all the classes in unimaginable ways. In programming assignments, he did this. In written assignment, he did that. I was trying all my efforts to catch him, but always he was finding a way to just make up an excuse and get away. Like he had no shame. Like not only was he a cheater, he had no shame on top of it, let's say. When I'm explaining Jonathan to you, like imagine that I give this speech before my class. Is my point to warn them against Jonathan so that they don't do any business with Jonathan in the future or anything of this sort? Or Jonathan is just an example, a persona, and I'm telling them that this is not acceptable at all. Like, don't even get close to become another Jonathan. So it's not that I am gossiping Jonathan with them. I'm just telling them by personifying it. This is how we talked about 2 weeks ago, right? Satan is personification of lie. So Quran explains us how Satan behaves and says that don't be like this and whatnot, because it is embodying what a lie is. And in our lives, we find bits and pieces of Satan. And in students' lives, they find bits and pieces of Jonathan-ness in their lives. So if it was Jonathan or if it was Alex, doesn't matter. The point is, don't be like this. Now, Quran is explaining me something about people of the book. How about the people in this room? Do you consider yourself to be people of the book? I guess in the literal sense, we should be, because we are studying book, like scripture, we are studying Quran. If I'm just going to take it as the people of the revelation, so it's talking to something that must be attention worthy, saying that I have given book to people before you, and some of them behaved like this. So watch out. This is something very likely that you can fall into that trap as well. So you're not saved by simply having the title of Muslim, because they were the Muslims of their time. When, I mean, explicitly Quran says, like in the eye of the creator, religion is Islam. What do you mean creator? Like 500 years ago, it was Christianity, now it is Islam. Did you change your mind? No, it's always Islam. It has always been submitting. The religion was always one and the same. People were changing. And then the creator was, like, the main theme of the religion has never changed. The main message never changed. There were small adjustments to the law, but other than that, which was according to the people, it's pretty much like the essence of education never changes. If you go to primary school, secondary school, high school, it's always education. But depending on the perception level of the children, the intensity of the education changes. But the essence and gist of the education is education. So religion guidance has always been the same, but there had been small adjustments according to the understanding level of the people. So when Quran talks about people of the book, I should say, oh yeah, those are the people of the book. I am people of the book. And now there is this possibility that I could be this way or that way. This being said, this was just the intro. So I would like to take you back to the first verse and let's start talking about it. وَمِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ مَنْ إِنْ تَأْمَنْهُ بِقِنْتَارٍ. Qintarin is loads, like qintar is scale. What do they say? In the highways, the truck weigh station, like this weigh station is what qintar is. If you give them weigh like loads and loads of gold, some of the people of the book will give it back to you, and some others won't. What does this say? How is it relevant to you? And this is going to be tied back to, eventually, this example is given so that this is an example of how somebody breaks their oath. Because when something is entrusted to you, implicitly you are making an oath. What is your oath? I'm going to look after it. It's not mine, right? So what does this analogy tell us about the people of the book? Or what does it tell you about yourself?
We first talk about what the pay facts are
is talking about, like the payback, is not referring to like money or, but then it is using like gold and things that I would think you have to pay back, but it seems a little, it's very straightforward. It's just like, okay, I don't use silver, I don't use whatever. But payback in one way, if like the creator doesn't really need quote unquote like my payback, because that could be gratitude, which probably less important with the people that we're talking about today. But so I guess can we just talk about like payback what it's
so in here one says you addihi, so you're giving it back, but something is given to you as a amana. That part is important. It's a trust. So it's given to you as a trust. When it's given to you, it's not gifted. It is entrusted. So the one who gives it is giving it to you with the promise that I'm going to take it back. And then he comes and says, give it back to me. It's not like he needs. He says, I gave it to you, now I want it back. So this is the setup. Why is this the case? Sometimes it happens that you give your child something just to teach them something. Like I remember my father, when leaving the mosque after Jummah, so they're asking for donation, he would always give me the money and say, like, give it to the mosque. Like, why? Because he wants me to learn how to give charity and whatnot. So otherwise, he is not in need of me or whatever. But this whole interaction was so that I learned how to give charity, so that I observe that charity is being given, right? So you're entrusted something, so the one who entrusts it to you gives it to you for a purpose, but by the mere nature of it being an amana, meaning a trust, and not a gift, clearly says that I'm going to take it back. So this is why the question of why does he need and whatnot is not the question, but the main question is that it's going to be taken away. And if you're accepting it, that means you accept the trust, like you accept the oath. Otherwise, you shouldn't be accepting it. If somebody gives you a trust and you're not going to turn it back or you're going to break it, like you shouldn't take it as a trust because you're stealing it pretty much, right? So taking it means I accept it as a trust. And when he says, okay, now give it back to me, if he says some of the people of the book will immediately return it back, but some others, even if it is something as valueless as a dinar, like a silver coin, not loads of gold, it's a silver coin. Like, what is it? Just give it back, man. Like, not a big deal. They won't return it back. And the reasoning for that, they say, is ليس علينا في الأميين سبيل. There's no call on us with these ignorant. In the parentheses, they say with these ignorant pagans, like we don't need to give back anything to them. But let's generalize it. Like, of course, this is an issue. Like if a friend of yours gives you a trust, let's say loans you some money and you don't pay it back, this is a bad character, right? Like, would you continue being a friend with me if I ask for like $5,000 from you, saying that I'm going to pay it next Monday? 5 weeks passes, I'm not even mentioning it. Would you ever give me another penny? I would say this guy has some character problems. Like he's not, well. But this is just the problem that's being manifest on a specific case. You will say that this guy didn't pay back this amount of money. For example, I wouldn't do any business with him if he comes tomorrow and says that let's start a business together. You would say there is some problems in his personality which I detected elsewhere, so I wouldn't get into a separate conversation with him, right? What is entrusted to you in this life? Now we are a book of people. Scripture talks to you. Last week, we were talking about when we were mentioning which of your Lord's favors do you deny? we talked about many of the favors that we are given. Everything was a favor, pretty much. But all these favors are they gifts or are they trust? Like people in this room, all of them are studying in college, higher education. You are given intellect. How do we call about it generally? Or he's a gifted child, for instance. This is the language, right? Gifted child, smart kid. Is it really gift? Although this is part of our language. Like that child over there is also a gifted child. This is how we will call it, a gifted child. But what is the connotation of a gift? Right? Because if I take it back, what would you say? I thought it was a gift. Like it looks like, I mean, it's a bad thing to ask back for any gift that you have given, right? So I am given so many trusts in this life, but in which category am I? Am I acting as some people of the book, if they are given loads and loads of gold? And actually, last Friday, we were talking about this at Drexel as well. In Turkey, they joke about buying a new iPhone. They say, I need to sell one of my kidneys to buy an iPhone. iPhone prices are so expensive. Would you really sell one of your eyes to buy an iPhone? Or, I don't know, anything really. So valuable. But it's not a gift. How do you know? Because it's being taken away from you despite your will. You get old, you lose your sight. You get old, your brain is not as bright. So it's, whomever gave it to you is taking it away from you. The question is, are you going to be turning it away? Or he has to stand before you and then give it back, give it back. You don't give it back and he takes it away by force. Yes.
And the issue then that it's not that we are like as people of the book in this ayat, they are interested with something and then they're asked for it back, but they won't give it back. But sometimes I feel like there are things that are given as gifts where the expectation is that you don't have to give it back, or like, I guess, how does the concept of like forgiving someone's debt then come into the picture, or like giving something without that expectation? Because I feel like that is also that's also a concept, but I'm not having trouble reconciling it.
So that is for between you and somebody else. The part that I'm trying to focus more on is I am like whatever my creator gives me is a trust. He's not saying that take this and do whatever you want.
Oh, it's okay. Just to quickly, so even the things that are given to me as gifts from people are also given from my creator. So that still becomes a trust, maybe in a different sense where I'm not exactly transactionally giving something material.
Right. I mean, we can talk about this as well. Let's say somebody, your mom gives you her love. And generally speaking, although I'm not 100% agreed with that, let's assume that parents' love is unconditional love. They are giving it without expecting any return. We do, parents do, but let's assume it's not, okay? But still, are you taking it as a gift or are you seeing it as a mercy of your creator? If you see it as a gift from your mom, actually you're breaking the covenant with your creator, because this love is a trust of your creator, saying that it's coming from me, not from your mom. Your mom might be thinking that, oh, this is mine, and now I'm giving it to you, and in return, I'm not expecting anything, despite she will. But in fact, that love itself as much as I see it as, no, this is my Creator's mercy being manifest on me. And it's not mine, it's being given to me. How do I acknowledge this? Because as much as I take things for granted, then I'm starting to abuse it or breaking the covenant, as is the case in here. The moment you can say, oh, this love that I'm receiving is actually my Creator's love, my Creator's mercy. It's not my mom's, and this is not something that I deserved. This is how you return it back to its owner. So this might be a good follow-up question, right? How do you return it to the Creator? Let's go with, again, the 2 example of eyes. Are you going to take off your eye and say that, okay, God, take this back? You don't do that, right? How do you give your eyes, return your eyes to your Creator? Again, I guess we talked too much on last Friday, but there's this, concepts are so similar. So how do you die before you die? Because death is how you return everything to your Creator. And if you don't die before you die, as Prophet ﷺ in Hadith says, "Mutu qabla an tamut," die before you die. What does this mean? Death is simply how you return everything to your Creator. So eventually He will stand above you and say, okay, it's time, give it back to me, right? How do you return it before He just stands there and says, okay, time is over? Like, I have been asking it for you to return it to me for the past 50 years, Yusuf, and you were just dreading not to give it back to me. Now it is time, I'm taking it over altogether. But how do you return it to Him? If you are a proper book, a proper people of the book, if it is loads of gold that's given to you, it's everything in you, actually. You are loads of gold. You will return it back to it because you will say, this is not mine. You gave it to me. And I acknowledge this. And I'm returning it back to you. Meaning, I'm not claiming that I own it. The verse that we studied last week at Drexel, and we started studying at Friday discussion as well, which we will continue this week, is concluding with this. So, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اشْتَرَى مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَنفُسَهُمْ وَأَمْوَالَهُمْ بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةِ. Indeed, Allah has purchased from believers their property and their selves in exchange of paradise. It's a very interesting verse, which, as if you have any property. Like, what does William own? His eyes, his height. It looks like this is what's going to make him earn money. Like, his capital is his skill in playing basketball. Is this his property? Right?
His managers.
His manager's property. That's how they will make them. So the moment he says, this is not mine, and then the Creator comes and says, okay, it's not yours. Yes, I gave it to you, but sell it back to me. I'm going to give you paradise for that. How is the idea of this returning it directly? Does it make sense, or is it too abstract? What do you think? You ask good questions, or genuine questions.
I'm struggling. No, it makes sense.
Okay. But there is, like, in this returning or not returning, it now the Creator is bringing up the topic of telling a lie against the Creator. That is the important part. Actually, breaking any oath, breaking any promise has this notion of lying, but it's not only lying, it's lying against God. In my human-human relationship, if I break my promise to Birkan, saying that I will do it, but I don't do it, so I break this promise, this shows a character failure in me. But if you extrapolate this failure in me actually, you will find out, I will find out that I also break my promises towards my creator as well. When it comes to human, this is how it manifests. When it comes to human to creator, this is ultimately the problem is. So this is why any small lie is not a small lie. Likewise, small sins are not small sins. Unless it gets cleaned up immediately, it has the same gist of the problem. Like when you make a small sin, it could be something like telling quote unquote white lies. The moment I catch myself, I should say, Astaghfirullah, it was wrong. I shouldn't have done this. Oh, my creator, I accept that I did wrong and I seek your forgiveness. Why? Because like small lies, just you put adding things up, and eventually I will lie against my creator and say that you're partially creator, I am partially creator. Because it's just a lie at scale. The nature of the lie is there. One is just at scale. This is why istighfar needs to happen right after any sin to clean it up. Otherwise, it will drown me. So if you see your child stealing somebody's cookie, you should get alarmed. Because now the child is practicing the idea of there is no respect for somebody's property. If this child steals a cookie today, they can rob a bank tomorrow. But more importantly, they will rob the creator of his property. And they would say, oh, I am strong. Somebody saying I am strong is robbery at scale. Because now you are not stealing from central bank. You are stealing from the bank of the creator. You are stealing from his treasure. This is why small lies are not small lies. Lie is a lie. And lying against something small, in turn, is actually, if now we take it as everything is from my creator, any lie is a lie against my creator. If I'm aware of it. Do you have a comment?
So I have a specific lens when reading this, especially when it's the people of who. We can also take it as the people who are studying the universe. Us, is academia.
Scientists.
Among those, what they say is very interesting. I was looking at the word. قالوا ليس علينا في أميين, right?
Mm-hmm.
They about those who doesn't know, like unlettered people, uneducated people. Sevil, like ليس علينا سبيل, basically, saying that there's no Sevil is the path, right? There is no path for us, like a path in the sense, for instance, Quran says Sevil Allah. Explain you should do this way, that way, and so on, and not say this is the Sabil, this is the path of Allah, this is how Allah ordered things. Say, as if they are saying that there's no, the manners, or that there's no rules that we should be following when it comes to uneducated. We can treat them as we wish. We can tell them whatever we want. All our interpretations, all our, the things that we like to disseminate, not the truth. Seville, you can use like a truth, the path of truth. They say there's no such thing when it comes to the uneducated. And then in the last one, maybe we'll dive more deep into that. But you study the universe, you look at the creation, you see every signs in it. All these the signs are trusted to you, your mind is trusted to you, your understanding is trusted to you. But instead of paying it back, right, paying its due, meaning telling people the truth. You tell them whatever you want. You say, yeah, everything happens by itself. Why? Because if you make them believe so, you can rule them. Everything happens by itself means we need to define the rules. We need to define the order, human beings. And because we are elites, we will do it for you. So it's like a pathway to ruling people. Because if things are created by someone coming from a source, whatever this something tells us to do, we should follow. We cannot make up societal norms. We cannot tell people what is right, what is wrong. The creator, the owner of everything will. But when we say, no, everything happens by itself, there are these physical laws, the equations, etc. It's governed by themselves, means actually it is governed by whoever teaches you about them, which is us.
Yeah. So that whole point is an important point in terms of how to read the book of the people of the book. Actually, Imam Nursi mentioned this wherever Quran says, Ya Ahl al-Kitab, you can also read it as Ya Ahl al-Maktab, or the people of the schools, like the colleges, the universities, those that get education. We are dealing with books in those educational systems. We are literally reading books, sciences, but what does those books read? They read the book of the universe. So in this sense, everybody is people of the book. Like, yes, Revelation is book, but the universe is also book. So in this regard, being the people of the book, now we can really take it to ourselves and say that what is given to me and trusted to me, do I turn it back to its creator, its true owner, or am I stealing it? Unless he comes and forcefully grabs it back from me. There are very interesting hadith narrations about how a soul for paradise, how his soul is captured, versus how a person of hell, a soul of hell, how his soul is captured. Like he says, the person of paradise, their soul is being captured without any issue. It just comes out as if water is coming out of a container. But for the person of the hell, says it comes out as if, as hard as, imagine you have warmed up steel and it touches coal. The moment coal touches warmed up steel, it gets like, it burns and sticks on it. As you try to take it off, it won't come off. Says it's going to be as hard for the disbeliever to die because their soul won't come out. What does this signify? In this world, if I get attached to things so much, I say, oh, this is my youth, this is my intellect, it's mine. And now the creator says, okay, you're getting old. Imagine you were a singer. Actually, there had been cases of this. That person had been a famous singer for years, but now the voice starts to deteriorate. The person is not able to take it because that person was being respected because she has so nice of a voice, but now the voice is being taken away from her and she becomes so angry. She doesn't want to give any interviews because she doesn't want to be seen as this not so beautiful, not so nice voiced person anymore. It is being taken away from her, but she is just screaming about it. It's not that, okay, you gave it to me, you take it, that's fine. It's not being as easy as that. So when Rasulullah makes such descriptions, actually, just look at the mirror. You will see that, yes, for the thing that I'm not able to return, as being mentioned in this verse, unless somebody is really like the angel of death, Azrael, comes before me and pulls it away from me, I'm not leaving it because I see it's mine. It's not a trust. And this attitude is breaking of the oath. Like, has anybody in this room make an oath saying that I'm going to return it back? It is inherent in there. Like, this baby has received these eyes. She has, mashallah, beautiful, colorful eyes. That it is given to her. It's not hers. So and is she okay with having those eyes? Because if the owner comes and says, okay, give it back to me, she says, no, I'm happy with it. Okay, I'm going to give it back to you, but leave it. I enjoy using them right now. Please leave it with me. Because when we talk about covenant, what comes to mind? Have you heard about Alastu bi Rabbikum? In the realm of the spirits, God says, am I not your Lord? And all the souls said, Bala, yes, you are. Indeed, you are our Lord. This is a verse from Quran. So it says, actually, Creator asked you, saying, am I not the Lord? What does this mean? He says, am I not your owner? Am I not the owner of these eyes? Am I not the owner of your intellect? And William said, indeed you are. Do you remember that? How do I then bear witness to this verse? Because this is a verse, guidance, for which I shall bear witness to. Like, you say, I ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, you say, bear witness, when also it's part of Iman to say that I bear witness that this is speech of God, right? So how do you bear witness that your Creator asks you, am I not your Lord? And I said, yes. That covenant is taking place right now as well. Just check. Who is your Lord? If it is not your Creator, who is the Creator of the sun and the moon and everything, who is it then? Who maintains you? Actually, that question is being asked to you right now as well from your Creator. Am I not your Lord? That question is being asked to you right now. If you pay attention, you will hear that question being asked. Actually, last Friday, Sister Zaha was asking, is she here? No. So she was asking about having those questions. What is the purpose of life? Why am I doing this and why whatnot, right? Where are those questions coming from? Actually, you don't need to be religious or anything. Just go to phdcomics.com. You will see that this is a common question that any person asks. What am I doing in this school? Why am I here? Where does this question come from? Like, that question is being put there by someone because you dread that question. Like, she was quite bothered by asking those questions last Friday. If only it was possible for her not to ask that question. But we find ourselves in these situations. We try to cover it up by busying ourselves with this and that. But this question is, we hear that question somehow. A form of that question we hear. What does this question mean? This question is, in fact, if you pay attention to the question itself, it is saying, am I not your Lord? Because you think you are the Lord and you're trying to figure out your life by yourself and it is not working out. This is why you're saying, why am I here? Because you thought you were here because you are drawing the path for yourself. And you say, how did I end up here? I was not meaning to be here. Because I don't see where this road goes to. Actually, the flip side of that question is your Creator saying, am I not your Lord? I put you there. If you think you were the Lord, then explain why you're here. You thought you decided to be here? You know where you're going to? You have an explanation for everything? Okay, you govern yourself, then go ahead with it. But the moment I say, what am I going to do? Why am I here? Actually, this question is an extension of, am I not your Lord? In the flip side, are you your own Lord? Am I my own Lord? Am I maintaining myself? This is why Sister Zaha was bothered by it, because she feels like I'm not able to maintain myself, and I don't know what's going on in here. That's a very good question to ask. The question itself has the answer. going back to Friday discussion, is the troubles not the cure for you? Is your ills not sufficient as a cure? This was the sentence at the beginning of last Friday's discussion, the very first sentence. Is your ills not sufficient for you as a cure? Question, the fact that she is bothered by that question has the cure in there. Because that question is an extension of am I not your Lord? So Alastu bi Rabbikum is something that keeps happening by the way. So it's not like a mythological thing that Arabic, like some people put it as Arab mythology, some people put it as is Quran mythology, Islamic mythology. It's not talking about some mythology history that happened prehistoric times. It's talking about every time, every moment. And you can bear witness to this. And taking it back to here, ألا من أوفى بعهده واتقى فإن الله يحب المتقين. Nay, but who fulfills his pledge? What is the pledge? Return what is given to you back to your Creator. Yes.
As the roommate representative, I have a question. So I feel like, so do you continue asking that question until you ultimately with the idea that you keep getting it answered? Because I think like as the recipient who's like listening to the question, I'm like, I don't have the question to this level. Like I'm saying like what's in front of me is sufficient. And so trying to understand that question, I think from somebody else's perspective of like, why is this person so bothered with something that I find so like, it's right, this is there, like it's me waking up. It's like, it's not that big, at least in my eyes. I'm like, it's, so I think I struggle with that contrast of like, one, why does that, like internally I'm like, simple, or am I the simple, like I simplified it. Because I think it's really hard to watch somebody ask a question, but then be like, I don't know how you're not satisfied. Because for me, it seems very like straight.
Satisfied with the answer.
Like asking a question, but like I don't know if any answer would truly be satisfactory. Like I don't know that part. I'm just trying to gauge like when an individual is asking these kind of questions, one, how do they reach that conclusion on their own? Because I think that's the hardest part actually. Because it feels very repetitive actually. It's not like a one set go.
Yeah. So I think another, I guess, side question that you have implicitly, I feel like is some people ask this question more, some people less.
Yeah.
Zaha is very vocal about it, but I don't feel like it's maybe.
Yeah.
But I think the question is manifesting itself in different ways in different people. Like, are you really not concerned about it? Another way to handle this is if I am overly obsessed about my career, let's say. Okay. So implicitly, what is happening in here? Let's look at it. I am trying to be so successful in my career. And like I'm waking up, what is the implicit message in here for myself? I'm saying that I'll do this, and I will achieve it. Right? Super self-determined, and I have a very strong belief in myself, I guess, using today's language. I have super self-confidence. I say that I will achieve this, like this. Formula for success is easy. Do this, and you're done. What's that? Alastu bi Rabbikum is going to come every day in the form of really a new challenge comes, and I say, I will do it. I know how to do it, right? So what is happening in this case is really, it is starting to become a burden over myself, heavy, because now I'm saying that put more. The Creator says, okay, you're the maintainer, sustainer of yourself. Okay, here's another challenge. Here's another challenge. If you can do it, keep doing it. Everything that's put before me is a way to say that who is the sustainer, like we did last week. It's yet another favor of my Lord. He says, whose is this? Am I not your Lord? Like every favor that's bestowed upon me is in a sense, which favor are you going to deny? Is this favor also you're going to deny? And since I am, let's say, super career conscious and I am feeling that I do it, not him, then I'm saying that, no, it's also mine, not yours. It's also mine, not yours. So everything that was put before me was an occasion to say, am I not your Lord? And I take it as, I am my Lord. To the extent that I achieve success, I will feel like, no, I am my Lord. I am self-Lord. But the moment I start not fulfilling that, and this will happen very soon because no matter how successful you are, your desires always will go 5 steps before you. This is why in science people have this imposters. From outside, you feel like, oh, this person has super self-confidence and well-achieving person and whatnot. But from inside, you can, check for yourself. You know that you pretend to be 15 while you are just 5. The gap in between this 5 and 15 is internally you say, actually, I'm not my Lord, but I pretend to be. And I'm just fighting with this, like I'm having this internal fight with God in there. Even like atheist fights with God, while denying God, fights with God. Like if there's no God, chill out, man. What are you enemy against? Deep inside, you know that you are not achieving, yet you say, no, I am achieving. That internal conflict will still be there, but it's not, I'm not verbalizing it as what's my purpose in life or whatever. I say, no, I will set my goal in life and I will achieve it. And it simply becomes a burden on my shoulders over time. So I think it's just a matter of, am I articulating it? Am I naming it as such? But otherwise, everybody's going through that. It's just demonstrating itself in different shapes and forms. Yeah.
And coming back to the last maybe you don't have much time, right?
Yes.
So the imposter syndrome is a good example for this ayah because you have an experience which is true, that you feel that there is something wrong with my claims, that I claim to sustain myself, I claim to have this knowledge and gain this knowledge myself, but something inside me says, no, this is not true. And what I do, instead of listening this voice and try to make sense of it, as if, not as if, but as it comes from the source, I say, no, actually it is called imposter syndrome. So it's a glitch. When you call something like imposter syndrome, it means it shouldn't be there. Right? That's what imposter means and syndrome. You just give a name to it. You say, do you see, I explained it. And then tell a lie about it. But in reality, it is not from the source. It's not coming from this imposter syndrome.
It's not a syndrome, but you're an imposter.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Jazakallah khairan. I have to stop here because we need to get to the airport for my mother-in-law.
You don't want to be late?
Yeah. No, not for that reason. Okay. But yeah, they're beautiful verses. We couldn't talk about the remaining 2 verses, but like they're interesting phrases. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَشْتَرُونَ بِعَهْدِ اللَّهِ وَإِيمَانِهِمْ ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا. Like selling my oath to Creator for a very small gain. Take it this way. Selling the words of Allah in exchange for money. It would sound interesting, right? I give and pretend to give you, teach you God's name and whatnot, and I have nothing to do with the content of the message and get your money to my pocket. That would be something so despicable. What does it mean that I break the oath of God for gaining a small gain in the eyes of people. We do that. To receive people's appreciations, I say, oh, it was my idea. I don't say it is my creator's knowledge that I'm demonstrating. Because we are proudly writing, oh, my new paper came out. We posted in Instagram, Twitter, whatnot. It's my idea. I claim the idea. Whose idea is this? Where does this come from? Is it yours? I'm being super proud because I would like people to appreciate me. This is the gain that I have. People clap me. They said, oh, what a bright idea you came up with. This is the cheap money that I get in return. But what did I do? I break my oath to the creator, which was, this idea was entrusted to you. It's not your idea. Why don't you present it as such, right? This is something that we do. We are the people of the book. So, and lying against God is, in this case, really such a big deal. We do this. We might be doing this day in, day out by saying that this is my idea, this is my strength, my child, my lineage, whatever. So turning it back to the creator is returning the trust to the true owner is the way to go. Inshallah, let's conclude Kizb with this. Next week we can start a new topic. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة.